Okay, hey everybody.
Hi guys.
So today we're going to be changing it up a little bit. I'm going to be fumbling my way through Unreal Engine that I haven't touched in 4 weeks to create a basic loot container blueprint. And hoping that I'll get to a point where I can actually have a player controller that can loot that container by the end of the stream today. But we never really know what's going to happen because I may have completely forgotten how to use Unreal Engine. And I think Alex has got some work he's going to be doing on retopologizing his crate.
Yep. So yeah, I'll continue working on retopology, and you guys will just watch this screen. I just realized that my setup is like I'll have to work on my other screen because this is the one that's streaming. So let's share this guy, I think, and I'll move my 3D code onto the other side. It probably made more sense if you streamed from your end.
Probably.
Yeah.
We'll be all right. So I'm going to start out creating a loot container actor, which has nothing in it right now. And basically the idea is I want to create a blueprint that encapsulates the geometry and animations for the loot container, and then signals events to any of the other entities in the scene, and probably has some kind of a flag for whether or not it's currently lootable. We're not going to do keys or animation or any of that stuff right now. Might as well just wait for Alex to be done with his super cool crate. And I'm just using the regular first-person shooter starter template. So let's see what we're going to do. All right, so right off the bat, let's just go ahead and do the regular rigmarole. Create a new scene root.
Is there a way to full screen a Google Hangout? They changed it so much that
I'm not really sure. I think you can close that right panel.
Yeah, how? There's no like this stupid Slack thing.
Yeah.
It's
I'm not sure. That's definitely Skype that we're looking at now. Oh, never mind. That's what I'm seeing. I think we'll just have to deal with it. I don't think it's a big deal. All right, so let's create a box. And set that base to 0. So that comes in the same place. This is kind of handy too. In your compile button in your blueprints, just say on success, save on compile on success only, and then you don't have to do that 2-button shuffle. All right, so I don't think we need anything in our construction script. So I'm thinking about the ways in which we're going to want to customize this. And I know that once we get a skeletal mesh or have whatever the UE4 animation stuff produces, that this stuff inside of this container here will change. But that's not really a big deal. And probably we would make this configurable as well so that you can set it and it replaces it in the construction script and then has some kind of an event for when to play and what to play and all that stuff. But the thing that I want to focus on
Tom,
for right now is,
there's a problem. Like parts of the Google Hangout UI is covering up your screen, your Unreal screen, which can be annoying because you don't see the side. I guess it disappears over time, but like it's kind of crappy. Would you be able to make your screen not a full screen, but like 80% or so you can see the top of your window? Yeah, something like that. And then for tomorrow, it's like if you're doing the Unreal stuff, it's probably better if you stream it. Okay, this is better. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
All right, so I know I'm going to need an interface, so I'm going to create a blueprint interface. This is going to be the looter interface. And we know right off the bat we're going to say this guy's going to have a method called receive loot. And receive loot's probably going to take, I think we'll just make it a string for now. And we'll call it the loot key. All right, so in our actor begin overlap, what we want to do is we want to have the player. So let's set this on the ground. When the player walks into range of this thing, it's likely that the loot container itself is going to give out some sort of indication visually that it's interactive, and we'll probably want to put something on screen to tell the player, here's what you need to do to get the goodies that are inside of this box. So in the actor begin overlap, we're actually going to test to see if this other actor implements the interface that we just created for the looter. So when the player comes into range of whatever overlap we have for this thing, we say if that actor is a looter, then we're going to do something interesting. Tie this together. And for now, we'll just print string. Okay. Boom. All right, so now, because we don't want to do this logic again, it might be nice to have the looter interface know that when the looter is in range of a lootable item, and have that be an event that we can respond to. So we're going to add another method here for in range of loot. All right, and then we'll just basically take this dude and in range. Step out. What am I doing wrong? What did I do wrong?
This is a tricky question. While you're figuring out what you did wrong, I have a quick tip. So here I have topology that like it's trying to align to snap to the surface, but I don't want it to snap to the surface. I want it just to be flat. So what I could do is disable auto snap, and then with select brush, just select the faces. And now I can just use a transform which is transform right here. And now you can see I can just flatten it and move it in place. And this way I have like a straight line. Of course here there's an issue, so let's grab a brush. And then with brush I can just kind of move it in place. And then,
cool. So it turned out that I just
give me a
needed
sec.
to invoke the event itself.
Give me a
No,
sec.
you're fine.
I just need to move my screen out of the way. There we go. Okay, say it again.
Yeah. So once you've determined that the object that we're dealing with in the overlap event implements the interface, then you can just call the interface method right on the object. You don't need to cast it to anything. So what I've done is I went back into InRangeOfLoot and I added an input parameter of type loot container, and I'm calling that sender, just to kind of follow the C# WPF and Objective-C events model of sending the sender information. So basically, the actor comes into range of the loot container. We determine if that actor implements the looter interface, and then we send a message to the looter that they are in range of loot, and we send a reference to the loot item that they are in range of. And I'm realizing that this is going to create a little bit of a race condition if two loot containers are close together, but that is not a big deal for right now. So another thing that we know we're going to need is we're going to need some sort of radius to tell the blueprint when we're in range. So for that, we'll just use a sphere collision. Pick up reading range. Boom. And then we might as well go ahead and add a vector for range control. And make it editable and show the 3D widget. And then get it and say, give me the length. And then get this dude and set radius to whatever that is. And then let's give this a default of something. All right, so now I can grab this, and you see you can drag out the radius of the cone there right in the editor. So we want this to be pretty tight. Okay. Now, back in here, so I'm just going to clean this up real quick. Spent 6 hours watching me rearrange blueprints.
That's my favorite show.
Yeah. Watch Tom dress blueprints. There we go. Thanks. Okay, so now we've got this loot container that basically right now all it does is it's a proximity line. So what we're going to need to do now is actually tell the player what's going on. What do they use the character for the controller, I guess?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to go to class settings, and we're going to say that this dude implements the interface looter. And what that does is it makes it available in range range of loop. Got that one. Oh. Did I do that wrong? There we go. So I just had to recompile the blueprint to get access to the custom interface event. So now, now I can know when I'm in range of loop. And then all I need to do now is keep track of last loop container. Make this a loop container reference. Doesn't need to be public. And then we're just going to set this whenever that comes in. So every time I walk near a loop container, it's going to set the last loop container to a value, which also brings up a very interesting concept of the race condition that I was talking about earlier. So when I come in range of a loop container and then I leave the range of the loop container, I'm not sure what the order of operations is for the leave event of the radius of the sphere versus the entering of another one. So if two are really close together, there could be a potential race condition where I haven't left the other one yet, but I've entered another one, and then I get a leave event. So I'm not going to deal with that right now, because I think I need to test. I need to test who this is. So I'm going to wait to see if I actually have that problem.
Yeah.
The loop containers would have to be really close together. So for right now, I'm going to create another event. And this one is left range. Can I input? And then here, we're going to copy all this stuff. Actor and overlap. And I will be right back.
There you go. Alright guys, while Tom is away, so I kind of picked the simplest part that I could because I'm using it awkwardly on another screen. So just establishing flow of the topology and you know, making sure it wraps around the surface nicely. And on the back you can see the crate is not fully symmetrical, so it's going to be slightly different, but for now I'm just keeping the symmetry on. I'm using heavily relying on triangles here because I don't want loops that go across the entire damn thing, because you know that would be wasteful. Connecting these two.
My KVM took kind of a poop there. Sorry.
What happened? Who took a poop?
I run a dual monitor setup with 4 computers, so I have a KVM and it has been on the fritz lately.
Do you want me to get rid of my 3D code screen so we can continue?
No, it's fine. Everything's fine.
Is everything fine though?
Yeah, I had to restart the KVM. Stop giving me a hard time.
Alright.
Okay, so I'm just going to continue wiring things up here.
I'll move my screen out of the way.
Adding the methods for the left, the loop range. Moving this down so we get these two together. And it might seem a little heavy-handed for the newcomer to use an interface to do this. The reason that I'm doing it is because I've fallen into the trap enough times where we ask the question, well, what if we want an enemy to be able to loot a crate to steal from the player before the player gets there, or any number of other things. And so by using an interface, we can basically very loosely couple this to any single entity in the scene. Or like if you guys wanted to download this blueprint and use it in your own scenes, then it wouldn't be tied to the first-person player character blueprint. All you'd need to do is inherit the interface in your own player class, and you'd be able to respond to all these events in the same way. And then it just becomes a job of minimizing the amount of code reproduction that you have to do for each individual case. Alrighty, so
Yeah, interfaces are awesome.
they are pretty cool. They can be cool. They can make things really complicated too, so you have to be careful. Alright, so now we're going to say event left range of loot. And then I think this is the fix for that raise condition, but I'm going to put it in here because it won't hurt anything. If this is equal to the reference that we have is equal to the reference that's coming in, then set this to nothing. Otherwise, skip it. Okay, so if we're leaving the range of the loot that we entered, then we're going to set this to nothing, to nil. And then that we're going to use later to determine whether or not the player has loot. As a for instance right here, I might create a widget class that puts on screen the action that you have to perform to actually loot the container, which I probably won't get to today because we're already at 10:40. What's next?
What was that sound?
Boop, 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 boop. My dog.
Oh.
I say my dog. It's not really my dog.
I don't think anyone ever has their own dog. It's usually the wife's dog, and it's like a little Shih Tzu.
Well, I mean, Cooper was my dog.
Okay.
That was my dog. But this dog is not. This dog's like a little
thing. I have nothing against Shih Tzus, by the way. If you're a Shih Tzu and you're watching this, I do not discriminate against.
Yeah. We do not discriminate against you personally.
It's just
pug.
I know some Shih Tzus that aren't very, good people.
I don't think that line of joking goes anywhere positive.
No, I should shut up.
All right, let's see. Just for S&G, say in the player, rubber meets the road. sad panda.
Who's a sad panda?
Let's see if it works. I am in range of loot. I have no loot nearby. Yay! Yay. Okay. Good. I really didn't think that was going to work. All right. Now.
Did you explain people what print string is?
Yeah, so this just puts text on the screen and you can color it. So we can say all the player stuff is going to be orange. Any of you guys that are in the moodboard beta know that I have a thing for orange.
All right.
There.
Tom is a Modo user, so he likes gray and orange.
It used to be black and orange was the thing, but
black and orange feels like a lot of freaking contrast for a 3D application.
Yeah, it is. All right. So now we need to configure a key so that we can actually loot the container. And this is where I'm going to flop around like a baby seal because I can't remember if it's an action mapping or an access.
Oh, yeah, it's an action map. An access mapping is when you know, it's like a gamepad or a mouse. So, yeah.
Right. Interact. What we call this interact, right?
I'd say use, but share. Just E is fine. E and then scroll down. You'll see it. There you go. E. You can even make it Control E.
I would never do that.
Imagine a game where
you had to use regular keyboard shortcuts to do like like to reload the bazooka is like save for web in Photoshop command. But
or Control C, Control V items into your from the loot crate into your interface. That's terrible.
Call it Super Interface Fighter.
Yeah,
that'd be a good game actually. That'd be a fun one to do for like a Loot and Dare.
Yeah.
Anyway, E. Okay, so we're going to say when the E key is released, do something interesting. And what we're going to do is we're going to get the last loot container. We're going to test to see if it's valid. We're going to say if I've got a last loot container, boom. What's the new hotness to create a custom event?
You right click and type in. No, that's not it. Custom. Type in custom. There you go.
All right. Now, I think probably eventually, if I do more than just 1 or 2 streams on this thing, probably what I will do is I'll create a reverse interface for the loot container as well, so that all of these methods will be defined as interfaces, so that we could attach this behavior to pretty much anything, and then that kind of negates the need to add a whole bunch of configuration options to just this one thing. But for right now, we're just going to call directly. We're just going to say, if this dude is valid, then we're going to say loot. And what this does is actually, by making this a method, it probably seems unnecessary, right? Like, if I were doing this very naively, then I could just say, if the player is in range of a loot container and they press E, then handle all of the loot logic in here.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to do instead is I want for the loot container to be the thing that gives the player controller the loot,
Also,
and then
Tom.
disposes itself. And then that would allow you to actually create like external events too, like maybe where another, like an NPC in the game is carrying a box that has loot in it, and you could use the same mechanism to just fire the event on the on that loot container against the player, and it will give them that item.
Right click and type in interact, because you created the key binding, but instead of using it, you're using the E.
That's right.
Yeah. So the thing is, and you see it a lot of, well, not in a lot, but in some marketplace assets, you get a package, and then the guy is using just random hotkeys like E, D, B, and which is fine. But then, if you're building your own game project, you want these hotkeys to be rebindable, and you want to assign any button to interact or to fire. So it's handy to use. It's not handy. It's better if you use the actual, key bindings as opposed to just a one-off letter. Did I explain it right? I think I explained it right.
So this also needs to have an input for sender. Spell. And then this, we're just going to make it an actor reference so that it behaves just like this. And then we can copy all this stuff. So then, boom, receive. Okay, and then I'm going to add a Boolean here that says it is lootable. Okay, might as well make that editable to the public. And then we're also going to add, I don't know, do you want to make it random or just a static string?
Peggy 12.
I don't know. I'm just here making boxes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm a simple man.
We'll do a little bit of random. So I'm going to make a loot keys string array, make it editable. And eventually you'd probably want to have this tied to a like a data file or something where it pulls all the loot keys and controls probability and all that stuff, but I'm not going to do that today. Get that, and then say get random int. What is it? Random integer in range from 0 to
random integer in range basically picks a number between minimum and maximum, right? And
right. So here I'm going to say pick a random integer between 0 and the length of my loot keys list. And then I'm going to get whatever that result is. I'm going to get whatever the random position is, and then I'm going to pass that back as the loot key to whoever's looting me.
And if you're like me and you're not a programmer, integer is basically a number, right?
It's a whole number, yeah.
Yeah. So you get a random number between 0 and whatever.
Yep. All right. So now, in addition to all of this, I need to add one more piece of branching logic, and I think I'm going to use an and to do that, because I know that the first thing that happens in all of these is an if test. So this should make it pretty clean. Let's just grab all of these. And let's move on. Actually, that's fine. Put this down.
My 3D code froze and died. Makes me sad.
It's a sad state.
Yeah.
Although it does seem to happen, I mean, I'm not going to say a lot, but it does happen frequently.
I'm using a beta, like the latest beta, because they literally release a new beta every like 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
So it's
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use an and modifier on the boolean.
Give me a second. I need to launch 3D code. There you go. Now you can talk. Wait.
Okay. So
now I have a stupid splash screen all over your Hangout window. Okay, you're clear.
okay. So I'm just going to save an and this basically just compounds the test to say if the actor that I'm overlapping with is a looter and I'm lootable, then do the thing. And make it clean. And because this is starting to get a little hinky, I'm actually going to take this and I'm going to collapse this to a macro. This is just a right click on selected nodes, collapse to macro, call that macro loot state go. So this takes my test object and it will do the comparison here with loot is lootable, and then it just returns the result. And then these are undirected graphs, so it just goes, it just evaluates the value and returns it. There's no execution path inside of a macro. But that consolidates my blueprint a little bit. And if I wanted to make this even cleaner, I could probably do this. I could just add another output for, call it looter, and pass this back through here. Oh. Uh-oh.
What's happening?
I don't know. Object reference is not... Oh, it's just an object. Wow, that's really exciting. There we go. Boom. And this will make it nice, just like how those set operations return the value, so you can clean up your graph even more. Okay. There we go. It's nice. All right, so then I can delete this. Let's say delete that. Say boot stat. All right. And then as the capstone to this whole thing, once we've looted a crate, we're going to set is lootable to false. And then all of those other events, anywhere we do this, will break on false. Okay. So now back over in my first person character, I guess we'll just create a holder for it. Loot I got. And we'll make that a string array. The loot keys the player has on. And receive loot. And grab this dude, get it, and we'll add this to the list. Now, if we were doing this for realsies, this loop key, passing around a loop key is fine because, then you could have in your game state or whatever, you could have a hash table, like a string to object list that you can compare and fetch from, or you might have something a little bit more robust, like actual structs that represent your inventory items. And these loop keys can then create new instances of those struct items. But for right now, it's just strings. That's all. And then in our, where is tick? Oh, wow. It's always kind of crazy when, like, after coming from Unity, how everything is done in the update method, and then to see how little gets done in the tick method. Here, we'll just do a simple test to see if the length is greater than 0. And then format some text. And then for format text is nice. Sometimes it's better than print string because you can do this variable replacement. So here I just typed in, I've got curly brace D, curly brace, and then that creates the D variable, which is unspecified type, till I drag something into it, and then it becomes whatever the type is. And then we'll do a print string and let this autocast. It's going to be kind of noisy, but that's all right. Okay, moment of truth.
No. Doesn't work.
I broke something. I did not start the game with this thing being lootable.
Happens to me
We're
a
going to
lot.
say is lootable. We're going to say ammo. Give it a little bit of health. And I'm going to game the system by just adding additional references for multiple items of the same type. So it mostly wants to give you ammo and very rarely gives you a weapon. Okay. Well, that's not helpful. What's the, is it shift F11? No.
For what?
To
Just
to
exit the thing?
Yeah, exit, just to get the mouse out of the trap zone.
I think shift F1 and F11 is just to exit the character, to float around.
Boom. Okay, skip. Step into.
Was that right?
Yep.
Okay.
So something's happening here.
Oops. What's happening?
Oh. So when you, I added that reference to the sender, and I never filled it in with anything, so it was just passing nil. So the sender test in the loot container loot method was failing. I really hope. Hey, I've got 1 items. If I go back up, I can't loot again. Cool. So now I should be able to take this and I'll drag it out. One items, 2 items, 3 items, 4 items.
Sweet.
I made a loot container.
It's not a container, it's a pyramid that gives you loot.
Hey, you know, in Horizon Zero Dawn, none of the loot containers open.
What? Why?
Yeah, they're just little solid objects that have like pins sticking up on them.
That's weird, man. I think we're close to our daily time limit.
I'm amazed that I was able to get that done in 45 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I believed in you. I don't know why you didn't believe in yourself.
We weren't supposed to tell everybody about that.
Oh crap! Sorry.
Yeah.
Damn it.
All right, so some takeaways from this. I probably would want to convert this, the loot container stuff, into a component that could be put on any object. And then that would allow you to, like if you wanted to put, maybe there's like a little health station on a wall that actually doesn't have any interactable component, like there's no animation that plays when you loot it.
It just gives you health.
Yeah, you could just slam it on there and just fill it up with health. Or something a little bit more elaborate, like when an enemy goes down, you want them to be lootable as well. So it would make sense to use the same code for that. So I probably would want to convert this into a component that can just be dropped on any actor. And then maybe have a lootable interface that gives you some events around like when the loot action happens. So there'd be an event in the lootable interface called like on loot begin and then on loot end, and you'd be able to respond to those by playing animations or destroying the actor or making it vanish in a proof of smoke or whatever you want to do. But as far as the first person character goes, this is a relatively little amount of code to write. to manage inventory from a lootable container. So I think this feels just about the right amount of material.
Looking sweet.
And I'd want to add some UMG stuff.
Yeah.
For the interactable.
Yeah, a little bit interface goes a long way.
Yeah. Maybe on another stream.
Maybe tomorrow. All right, guys.
Maybe.
We'll continue with this tomorrow. Once again, follow us on Twitch or watch replays on YouTube. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the chat or support us on Patreon, where for $1 you can join our feedback group and get feedback on your on your programming, on your art, and on your concepts, and so on and so forth. In terms of my update, I was using mostly mouse because I was working on a different screen, and I kind of established a loose topology for this guy. It's obviously quite dense. There's things that need to be optimized, but other than that, it's a good start. All right, like I said, we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you for your time, and see you guys.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.